Shabbat Shalom. We're bringing it in with rhythm tonight. A great way to end this week. Welcome to everybody joining us tonight. Welcome to those who are joining us by the magic and miracle of live stream. And this evening, just to make sure it's not too confusing after last Shabbat, when I confused so many people by calling out the larger page numbers and forgetting to tell you which prayer book you were using, I have switched to the smaller prayer book, and I will attempt to call the page numbers in black and not the bracketed ones. But I also ask for your patience because I've been calling the bigger page numbers out for a decade now, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to get in sync. So at least you have two sets of page numbers. I now have two sets of page numbers. We'll do our best. If you are at home and you have the larger prayer book, you'll have to follow along in the evening service because I might not call your page numbers. So we begin this evening as we bring in Shabbat, lighting our candles and saying Kiddush, and I invite Gail and Phil Kramer up to the bima to join us. And as we have been doing for 9 months, we continue to light, a third candle as we think of those still being held hostage in Gaza.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own days, be among those who kindle light. Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvah tov v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
And as we turn the page and we prepare for Kiddush, I ask you all please to rise.
Here. Oh. And there was evening, and there was morning the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, boreh peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav
we say together, L'chaim, to
L'chaim.
life. What? You may be seated. As we were joking up here that it is the waning days of purple wine, come September 6th, we will only have white on the bima, since we will have brand new carpeting. No longer will there be purple Manischewitz on the bima, which will be a little bit sad. I mean, I'm a Manischewitz person, but. So I feel like each and every week when I come to Shabbat, I say, this was a chaotic week. Because yes, this was a chaotic week. Much like our parasha is a bit chaotic. And as usual, and in these days, I'm constantly looking for hope, little bits of hope. At the end of last week's parasha, and last week we talked a little bit about the donkey and the angel with the sword and Balak and Bilam, but at the very end of the parasha, we come to a part of the text where it tells us that even though the king of Moab was trying to curse the Israelites, at the end of the parasha last week, the Israelites did a really good job of it themselves, as the Moabite women came into the Israelite community and enticed them into doing not so wonderful things. And as they were enticing them, so too did they entice them to begin worshiping the Moabite god, Baal Peor. And so God is really angry, of course, that they are worshiping another god. And interestingly enough, at the end of the parasha, God is so angry that God asks Moses to go to the leaders of each tribe and say to them, all of the ringleaders who were with these women and who were getting people, the other people, to worship Baal Peor, you need to spear them. In the midst of Moses then going to the leaders and saying, God told me to tell you that you need to do this, a certain Israelite man and a Moabite woman go into the tent of meeting, and well, they start having relations at the tent of meeting. And Pinchas, who is a Levite, takes his spear and he goes and he spears them, both of them. After that, a plague is lifted. We're told that 24,000 people were killed by that plague, but Pinchas's actions take it away, and we move into this week's parasha that opens up with God telling us, or at least the Torah telling us, who Pinchas is. There is a recognition of Pinchas's zealous behavior, and from that, God offers a brit shalom, a covenant of peace. A bit strange. We hear a little bit about Pinchas's zealotry, and what is interesting is that yes, he acted, and yet God told Moses to tell them to do something quite similar to what Pinchas did, and yet we focus on his zealotry. Regardless, what is clear to me at the beginning of this parsha is that Pinchas, he acts out of love for God, and he acts out of his love for God's covenant with the Jewish people. But his actions are not ones for us to emulate. We can love God and we can feel fervor, but we shouldn't take spears and stick them through other people. Yet God recognizes Pinchas's leadership, and God offers him, as I said, this brit shalom, a covenant of peace. And within the words of this brit shalom, that is where I think we find this kernel of hope. In the section that speaks of the brit shalom, this covenant of peace, the letter vav in the Hebrew word is broken. Each of you was given a piece of paper. I'm going to ask for you to turn it over and look at the Hebrew. It's going to be a little bit harder to see because unfortunately when you photocopy and photocopy, it isn't completely clear. And I will tell you that today, and I took this as a picture straight out of our Torah. It's rolled and set for tomorrow morning, Cancer. So I initially had to read it 3 times before, and I had to take my phone out. I'm a little short, so when I look at the text, I'm looking at it from a certain angle and not over. And it only took until I held my phone up and blew it up that I actually could see the break in the Vav. It's that slight. But I want you to see, I put 2 words that were below each other. And so in the top word shalom, the third letter from the right is the Vav. And then when you look at the bottom letter, the second letter is a Vav. It's a little difficult to see, but it looks like the Vav on the top sort of scratches a little to the side, if you could notice that nuance that's there. So there is a slit there if you look down on the text. It just didn't really translate that well to photocopying. But there's a break. There is a break. Why is this break interesting? Well, normally, when writing a Torah scroll, any letter that has a break in it, or any letter that is incomplete, invalidates the entire Torah scroll. You would have to go back and you would have to fix it. Actually, I was reading a story online about a young rabbi who was reading the parashah for his congregation for the very first time, and he opens it up, he's reading it, and he stops reading, and he's like, I can't continue. He pulls out the next Torah scroll because he thought that was pasul, that it was unkosher, pulls out the next Torah scroll, and realizes it's the exact same thing. It had never, I guess he had never learned or it hadn't clicked. But here, this Vav is very specific. And according to the Talmud, it's required that it be written this way, that it be broken. And as you can imagine, the rabbis over the centuries are asking, why? How can we have a broken letter in our scroll? How can this be? And yet, there are numerous, just like the glass we break at a wedding, there are so many, many different explanations for why. And I think that we'll find that kernel here. So let's fast forward from Pinchas. We can look at our own world. There is a lot going on in our world, and I would venture to guess that we don't even hear the half of what is actually going on in our world. We can look at our own country. We are now in an election cycle. Our election cycle has its own kind of mishugas. And I will say, the one thing I learned when we moved here 20 years ago, to be from St. Louis, a border city, means you get ads from Missouri and you get ads from Illinois. It's its own kind of just chaos. We had Netanyahu's visit to DC this week, and we had all of the protests that went along with it. In terms of the brokenness and craziness in our world, and I went back and forth, do I even mention it? I will tell you, as I was telling Cantor Richmond today, I got a phone call from my own child on Wednesday in tears, who moved out of her apartment just walking distance from Union Station, and she saw it. She saw death to Israel. She saw the burning flag. She saw and heard all of the comments. And it was this, not that she didn't know it wasn't there, but it was now this anxious fear of what is happening, and that this is no longer just about a prime minister visiting, but this is hate. This is hate. And so there's a lot of feels that are going on for us as Americans, and even more so for us as Jews. And at times it feels like our world is breaking or our world is broken, much like this Vav. And so we come to this Vav and wonder, why is it here, or what can it say to us this week, this time, as we come to this Vav? Perhaps it's a visible reminder to each of us that peace doesn't come from wholeness. Peace doesn't come from perfection. Peace comes from brokenness. It comes from difference. And it's a bringing together of differing and different parts. And since this Vav is a part of the Brit Shalom, this covenant of peace, perhaps God is reminding us that peace doesn't just happen, but that peace comes with the work of bringing the different parts, the broken parts together, which means that making, reaching, finding peace isn't passive. We don't just let it happen, it's active. And when we find that place in that moment of peace, it then takes work to maintain it. We can't just let it be. And so whether we like Pinchas's actions, whether we appreciate what he did, what we learn from him, and what we learn from the daughters of Zelophehad at the very end of our parsha, is that when things are broken and anything but peaceful, if we want things to be better, then we have to do something. And the kernel of hope that I find in this is that even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst at times of feeling helpless, this Vav is a reminder that we hold some power here, that we hold some power by having to bring the two parts together, that we have to speak up, even if first we have to be upset, we have to cry, we have to let it out, but after that, we have to speak up. We have to do. We have to act. We are the masters of God's Brit Shalom, God's covenant of peace, and it will only be realized when each of us does what we need to do to bring those two broken parts of the Vav together. So something for us to think about, and I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And we turn now in our prayer books as we continue welcoming in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. We turn to page 20, and if for some reason you have the larger prayer book, page 138, but page 20 in our prayer books.
The familiar tune has a little Israeli twist in it. So if you feel like something has changed, but it's also familiar, sing. Just sing. You're never wrong if you sing. Let's try it. Lecha dodi likrat kala, ya la 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 la, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, ya la la ya la la ya la la, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor וזכור ודיבורך איש מיינו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד בשם ולתפארת ונעילה. You know it. לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת וקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת וקבלה. Make
reading and turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai
We turn to page 30 as we join together in Ma'ariv Aravim, offering our gratitude to God for bringing on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, B'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And we turn to page 32 for Ahavat Olam, a prayer that speaks of God's love for the people Israel.
Ahavat Olam, Beis Yisrael,
Continue on page 34 with Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad,
Baruch Shem kevod malchuto, le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto, le'olam va'ed. Yai dai 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 dai. Ya da dai dai da da dai. Yai dai dai da ya dai dai da dai dai dai. Ya dai da 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 dai dai. And as we are seated, we turn to page 36 and join together in chanting Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. And we turn to page 39 and we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40, Michamocha.
Say
we transition from freedom to a prayer asking God to shelter us and guard us as we turn to Hashkivenu on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. One more time. Hashkivenu Adonai. Let's hear your voices. Eloheinu leshalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, from sorrow and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. One more time.
We switch from prayers of shelter and peace to those of Shabbat as we turn to page 44, and we're going to lift it up a little bit more in preparation for the Amidah as we join together in Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמעו ויתעמדו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. רצית בו בקידוש השבת, עמדת ימים, אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
And now that we're warmed up, we turn to page 46 as we rise for the Amidah.
אדוני שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevii Geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
Page 50.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל עצריו להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
Page 52.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated, and we turn to page 59 in our prayer books as we come to the Hoda'ah, our prayer of gratitude. And every Friday morning when we gather with our preschoolers, one of the things that we ask them to do before we offer our prayer of thanks to God is we count to 3 and we ask them to shout out something for which they are thankful for the week. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but I am going to ask you to think about if I counted to 3 and you had to shout something out, what would you be grateful or thankful for in this week? So think for a moment, hold on to that. And at the top of page 59, we join together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And together at the top of page 61, we offer a prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom. And now we turn to a prayer outside of our prayer books, at least outside of our evening service. And for the past 9 months, as we have gathered together here in our community, our hearts go out as one to our worldwide Jewish community, to our people, as most especially all together, we've been sending out words of prayer, asking that our captives be redeemed, that they be brought home. And so as Cantor Richmond taught us this version last week, once again, we'll join together in singing this prayer for the captives.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim. Let's try that together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim. Let your voices be free of any fear or any shame. This is our way to be here together and pray together for Israel, who really needs us right now. Let's try this one more time. And you're going to do it together as one voice. Let's hear it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir
Blessed is God who frees the captive. And we now offer a prayer for the state of Israel. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land, and grant them deliverance and adorn them in a mantle of victory. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And together we say, Amen. And we turn in our prayer books to page 253 as we turn our hearts and prayers a little closer toward home as we think of those in our lives and our hearts who are in need of healing. And if you are thinking of someone who is in need of healing, be it a spiritual, physical, emotional healing, I ask you please to rise at this time. Together we'll call aloud all of their names, adding them to our prayer this evening. We take all of those names into our hearts as we ask God to swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we join in singing Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. We take a moment for silent and personal prayer.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome. My name is Rob Ormont, and I am a member of the UH Board of Trustees. Tomorrow at UH, we'll have the Torah study at 9 a.m. in the Jablon Youth Lounge or on Zoom. We'll have the Shabbat morning service at 10 a.m. in the Spielberg Chapel and live stream. Upcoming events for Friday, August 30th at 6 o'clock, we'll have the Shabbat service celebrating Cantor Eicher. On Friday, September 6th at 6:30, we'll have the sanctuary dedication. Throughout the summer, Shabbat services will be in the Spielberg Chapel and Torah study will be in the Jablon Youth Lounge. Please remember to park on the school office side of the building. For information on additional upcoming classes and programs, please visit the UH website. Thank you to our tech team for making it possible for all of us to gather virtually tonight. Please check our website or call the office for gift shop hours.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And a reminder for Torah, so that's park on the school side for Torah study, because it's easier to get in over there. And a reminder, or if you weren't with us last week, Josh Scharf, soon-to-be rabbi from the Israel Rabbinical School of HUC, will be a guest lecturer teacher tomorrow. So we hope you'll join us at 9 a.m. And just a reminder that our Shabbat morning service does happen even when there's not a bar bat mitzvah. And we actually have a lovely minyan and more that's been joining us. So please join us. It's a beautiful service. Now we turn in our prayer books to page 282 as we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. And we turn in our prayer books to page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. And yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. This Shabbat, the heartfelt condolences of our congregation go out to the families of Judith Feinberg and Harvey Gershenson. We are in the period of Shloshim for Del Levy. And this week, this Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeits and we lovingly remember Mert Abraham, Hai R. Adler, Jack Baskin, Stephen Bassman, Pearl Sverren Beldner, Sue Ann Blatt, Joseph Bohm, Elsie Bunsick, Jeanette Cohen, Hilda Cohen, Sarah Duhoff, Ray Eder, Harry Feldman, Ann Gallant, Gertrude Garber, Benjamin Gaylor, Morris L. Gitlin, Joseph Goldstein, Ruth Rubenstein Hacker, Goldie Duhoff Jackaway, Joyce Kabak, David Kaufman, Morris Keene, Adolph I. Kussmer, Faye R. Kussmer, Esther Lasky, Elsie Lerman, Nathan Levine, Hannah Fuhrer Lewis, Julia Linsky, Robin Stolier Lloyd, Sadie Mathis, Marky Newmark, Stanley Niss, Isidore Palins, Arlene S. Peterson, Jordan Pittler, Lillian Plax, Irene Adele Rain, Bonnie Ross, Esther Podolsky-Rudman, Charlene Schneider, Abraham Schnur, Sophie Schnur, Michael Schnurman, Charles Schrenzel, Dorothy Shukar, Michael Joseph Schwartz, Corinne Shapiro, Ben L. Schifrin, Harry Schultz, Bess Silberman, Sylvia Tischler Spurtus, Pauline Stockman, Adele Trugman, Max Tureen, Solomon Wagner, Barbara Deichman-Wegman, Julius Werner, Louis Wolf, Goldine Wolkowitz, Frank Wolkowitz, Lorraine Zeman. If one of these loved ones is yours, I invite you to rise so that we may recognize the memory of your loved one. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. And I now invite everyone to rise and stand with our mourners for Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 294. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yit barach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. And before we come to our closing song, I just want us to wish Cantor Richmond a Nesiah Tova. She is leaving for Israel for a week. It is her nephew's bar mitzvah, and actually she will be leading at the southern part of the Kotel. And interestingly enough, this will be the first time that she is leading for her family. So we look forward to hearing how that is as a woman in Israel leading her family in worship. So it will be interesting in Hebrew to hear all of that. And so we wish you Nesiah Tova. I see Susie. I have Sadie on the brain. Susie is waving the Weber dollar, the famous Weber dollar that one gets so that you are a shaliach mitzvah as you go to Israel. So on one side you have the broken vav. On the other side you have words that can help us fix that broken vav. Words that remind us that we have power, and part of that power is our voice. And yet I'll just remind us that we have to be careful with that power, because we can use our voice like Pinchas, which would be in a zealous way that maims and is not the best way to use it. Or we can use it like the daughters of Zelophehad, who gently and through questioning and through asking and discussion were able to make a very important and big change in the Torah and for women and people for all time. And so this song itself is our benediction and blessing for all of us to begin doing that work of mending the broken vav.
So let's hear our voices together. Repeat after me. I have a voice.
I have a voice.
My voice is powerful.
My voice is powerful.
My voice can change the world.
My voice can change the world.
Change the world.
Change the
And it's
world.
going to sound like this. Repeat after me. I will open my eyes.
I will open my eyes.
I will not look away.
I will not look away.
I will use this gift I've been given every day. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Repeat after me. I will give of myself.
I will give of myself.
I will reach out my hand.
I will reach out my hand.
I will use this heart I've been given and take a stand. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שעשנו בצלם אלוהים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשנו בצלם אלוהים. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Last verse, make it good. I will fight for my truth.
I will fight for my truth.
I will fight for the truth.
I will fight for the truth.
I will use the strength I've been given to be a light. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Again, I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world.
Shabbat Shalom.
You have a voice.